What up, everyone? Episode 11 of Watch the Throne Fantasy Football Show. New setup again. This is like our 15th setup in 11 episodes. I don't know how we did it, but we are. More setups than episodes. I'm Al King. I got Gabe in the same room with me, and Ray not in the same room with us.
We're going to get him
not
in,
yet.
though. He's going to get in this room.
Yeah, keywords, not yet. We're going to try to raise the production value once again. It'll be another new setup. So setup 16 next week. Episode 12. If you're counting, you're keeping tabs, mark it down.
That just means we're making it slowly but surely, right? We're getting there.
We're making
Baby
it.
steps.
Doing big things.
Right.
Doing big
We're going to look
things.
back at this and laugh.
I hope so. I certainly hope so. So, guys, we usually start off with news and notes. We're going into week 8 of the NFL season. We skipped week 7.
Halfway through the fantasy season already.
I know. It's insane.
Golly, I remember drafting yesterday.
Yeah, we were just talking about our draft. Ray's ridiculous outfit was just worn. Like what?
Yeah.
That's right.
Talking
Yeah.
about winning drafts and losing drafts.
We were just there, and now we are
Halfway through, almost to the playoffs.
Insane. So we will do news and notes, and then we'll preview the games and just highlight what we want to highlight.
Let's do it. First
news.
Is it the big one?
What's the big one?
Are we starting with Hop?
D-Hop? Is that big?
It's newsworthy.
Ray shaking his head no.
I wouldn't call it big, but yeah, it's newsworthy for sure.
So D-Hop to the Chiefs. What does that mean? I'll get 2 prongs to this question for both of you. What does it mean for Patrick Mahomes, who has been a subpar fantasy quarterback for where you drafted him? And what does it mean for just the Chiefs' offense overall?
I think Mahomes is the biggest benefactor here. It opens it up a little bit. At least it gives him another weapon. At the very least, he could still throw the back shoulder, throw it to top. He's still a back shoulder receiver. Throw it up in the end zone. He's going to be an end zone threat. I think it will have more impact in real football than fantasy football, like on the field during the games, actual NFL games. But it is big news. I mean, if you have Hop, where would you rank him at your receivers now? Do you say he's top 25, top 20, top 30? Like where do you rank him now? Because I'll tell you right now, I actually just picked him up in the league. I'm actually very interested. I'm going to hold on to him. I want to see how this works out. I can see him as a top 20 receiver going all the way out to the end of the season.
20.
I can see it.
Wow, Ray.
That's a little rich for my blood. I think you're right on the nose when you say that it's going to help them more in real life than fantasy. I mean, if D-Hop is out there catching 4 or 5 passes a game or getting those targets, taking some of the defensive pressure away from some of the other weapons, that's only a good thing for them. It's not going to hurt. Let's just say that. It's not going to hurt their offense to have DeAndre Hopkins out there.
All right, so D-Hop fantasy impact, minimal, but definitely good for the Chiefs overall is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Another big news. Ray, our team, our MASH squad, the 49ers, Brandon Ayuk, ACL, out for the year.
Brutal injury.
Just traded
MCL
for him,
too, I think.
Just traded for him?
In Yahoo.
Oh, wow.
Traded Kelsey away for him.
Oh, wow. I don't know. So I was listen, I don't wish injuries on anyone, obviously. And this does hurt. Man, was I mad at him. Golly, was I mad at him. Anyways.
Saying you secretly wished it?
No, definitely not. Definitely
I know you would never.
But I do think this has a big impact on Jujuan Jennings. I think he has – I mean, that monster game was ridiculous. I think he's still like a top I don't want to put a crazy number out there, but at least like maybe a top 30 receiver based off of that one game. He had like – I think he scored like 70 points in our Yahoo League that game.
Oh, well, our Yahoo League is ridiculously scoring. That's
but I mean,
why.
he had, 175 and 4 touchdowns in the game or something ridiculous?
I think he's top 8. I think he's wide receiver 18, and it's pretty much based off all
one
that
game. Yeah.
He actually was solid in a couple games.
Sure, yeah.
Because I believe Debo missed a game or two as well.
Yep.
So you're right. Jujuan Jennings is going to be the benefactor. Hopefully he's healthy. I didn't see what his practice status was today. I know he missed last week. But Jujuan Jennings and, of course, Debo, when he comes back, and George Kittle, it's just more targets for them. George Kittle's already having a great year. Let me ask you this real quick while we're on the 49ers receivers. I've heard a little bit of fight back on Debo. Like I've heard mixed reviews on Debo. Is he having a good year? Is he having a bad year? How do you view it? How do you Niner fans view it?
I think Debo's the X factor still. I think when he's not on the field, the offense suffers mightily. Whether that means it's, he's a great fantasy guy, different subject, but definitely he's the X factor in the offense, I think.
Oh, absolutely.
What do you think, Ray?
Yeah, 100%. Without Debo, the offense has no idea what they're doing. It seems like him just being there, his presence. I mean, he's so physical, and he's like the first one to drop his shoulder and hit somebody. So, and that fires the guys up. Him and Kittle's energy make this offense run.
Yeah, I'm a big Debo guy. For as upset with Ayuk as I was, is how happy I am with Debo still. He missed last game because of an illness, and he was tested for pneumonia.
Yeah.
Wild.
So Debo's the more important factor to this team.
I would say, yeah, even when Ayuk's healthy, yes, I would say so.
Is this offense okay? If so, let's just throw out Debo, Jujuan Jennings, George Kittle. This offense can still run efficiently.
Jordan Mason. I think so. I think they can. I think Juwan slides into the Ayuk role.
CMC in 2 weeks.
Fairly seamlessly. And, yeah, maybe CMC coming back. Do you think there's a big fall off from Ayuk to Jennings, Ray?
Yeah, I think there's a big fall off, but Jennings will be serviceable. I don't think he's going to turn into Brandon Ayuk. He's not going to be out there catching 7-8 passes for 120 and a touchdown. Like he'll have his ups and downs. He'll have good games. He'll boom and bust. I'm more interested to see if who else in this offense steps up and takes that third receiver role now that it's open. Is it going to be the rookie Ricky Pearsall? Is it going to be Jacob Cowling? There's a few guys that they have there that have potential to step in and be that third receiver.
I think I might finally disagree with Ray on something. I think Juwan Jennings is going to step in and be Ayuk-like numbers-wise.
I'm actually tending with you. I think Jujuan Jennings is someone – he probably was a hot waiver wire pickup yesterday.
Yep.
If you do a league with Fab, I think in our league he went for like $25.
He went for $25. You know how much I put on him?
24?
23. All right.
I think I put 12, so I didn't feel too bad. I was off. I was way off on it.
$2 off.
But I think he does have a bigger impact in fantasy. And now fantasy versus reality, we try to focus on fantasy here. I think Jujuan Jennings is a very serviceable receiver. You're looking at a possible flex the rest of the way, possible wide receiver too. So I do agree with you on this one. I think Jennings does have a big impact, at least fantasy-wise, down the stretch.
Well, I mean, but BA's a wide receiver one. Like he's a top dog, to just say that Jennings is.
Has he been a wide receiver one this year though?
Maybe not yet this year, but he has been.
Yeah, you're right.
I think that there's a reason Debo has been so prominent in that offense for as long as he has, because Ayuk actually isn't an alpha. And I think he decided to not leave because I think he might have been exposed as a non-alpha elsewhere. That's a very strong, bold take, but it's how I believe. I think that's the case.
I feel like you're saying you regret the contract.
I do. Oh, I do for sure. I regret that they paid him, but that's neither here nor there. We're a fantasy show, but Ray's looking at me like, dog, you crazy.
He about to yell at you after this.
Nah. I think it's a valid take. Like I get it. You can see both sides. I'm still of the opinion that Ayuk's going to be a solid receiver when he's healthy again. But yeah, I think it's just hard to replace that kind of production, especially when you look at the fact that when you're a defense and you're planning for the 49ers and you're looking at Ayuk and Debo and Kittle, then yeah, you might overlook Jennings, but now you're not looking at Ayuk as well. So
now you're not overlooking him. I mean, that's going to be a true test to Jennings if he's, when he does garner a little more attention, if he can still do what he did and does.
Yeah. One last thing I'll say is Ayuk was struggling this year. I think we're starting to realize that even they've been together for Ayuk and Brock Purdy for a couple of years now. Mm-hmm. We're kind of seeing the same thing with Dak and CeeDee, where it's just off a little bit. So you still need that training camp. So even going into next year, I mean, obviously it's too early to look at that possibly, but if he can get over the injury, recover fast enough to be into training camp, then I am excited about Ayuk next year because I think he needs that training camp. I think him and Purdy need to get back on track. If he does miss training camp, it's a different story. So that is for long term. I know we're not focused on next year, but I like to look at the big picture of things. So we're looking to next year, if he can get into training camp, I think Ayuk will be perfectly fine back into that wide receiver one slot.
Man, Ray and I can talk 49ers all night, so we can keep
All
going
day.
if you want.
Nope,
but,
nope,
we should probably move on.
We do have a big game this week. I mean,
Yeah, Niners,
Huge
Cowboys,
game.
Sunday Night Football.
hopefully you guys aren't completely healthy. Give us a chance.
You guys are coming off a really bad game, so that's scary
Yeah.
because they usually bounce back. Couple more notes for injuries, and then we'll end on what I think is maybe the biggest impact of someone who's returning. Chris Olave returned to practice today, coming off a concussion.
That's big.
Yep, not too bad. Derek Carr will not play in Week 8, so temper your expectations with Olave.
Still going to hurt the Saints a little bit.
Yep, Dallas Goedert did not practice. I know he's been out for a little bit. He was tight end 1 for a little bit. Here's the one that I want to talk about. Tua Tagovailoa.
The big one.
Returned to practice today, expected to play in Week 8. Does not want to wear a Guardian cap.
This is the one
F
everyone
that.
has an opinion on, and it's interesting. Everyone's take is definitely interesting, and no one's wrong.
In fantasy terms, this is absolutely massive for the entire Dolphins offense.
Did you see Tyreek's conference today? Like they interviewed him at his locker. Did you see what he said?
I did not.
He said, "The band is back, baby. The band is back." He said, "Start me this week."
Yeah.
And he's not wrong.
No, he's not.
I've been trying to get Tyreek on the low in a couple weeks.
Yep.
Couple weeks.
leagues,
Jeez, I can't talk.
Did you see his tweet after the Hopkins trade, though?
No, what did he say?
He just said, that's it.
Oh,
Wow.
interesting.
Yeah.
Well, because supposedly there was rumors. I think Chiefs fans started these rumors.
Of course
But
they did.
Tyreek going back to the Chiefs.
Yeah.
I hate trade rumors so much.
But I was like, when people were
love
telling me, I said, man, that is so nonsense. He's not going back. He ain't going back.
I've had a couple of people say, "You guys are going to get Travis Etienne, right?" I'm like, "No, we're not going to get Travis Etienne. Stop listening to anyone with a social media."
Hey, Tank Bigsby's the best running back in Jacksonville.
You might not be wrong. But anyways,
Back to Tua.
yeah, back to Tua. Listen, Tyreek and Jalen Waddle, obviously the big benefactors here. You know, I'm curious. Last couple of games actually, because they were on bye week 2 weeks ago. Jonnu Smith has stepped up to tight end. Now Tua's not very popularly known to go to the tight end, but Jonnu Smith has stepped up, and Jonnu Smith is more of a receiving tight end than he is anything else. I want to see Jonnu Smith. Odell Beckham played this last week. Maybe Odell gets in the mix, but Tyreek Hill is back, as he stated, and he's going to go off this week. I think he's going to have a huge game this week.
Boy, Odell Beckham Jr. was getting force-fed, and it was ugly. I was like, why are we – he got on the field, and it's like, oh, we're throwing to him. It's like,
Yeah.
what? That's gross, man. Like, and he dropped 2. It just wasn't – it wasn't pretty.
Yeah.
OBJ
Agreed.
needs to – it's time to, I think, maybe hang him up. Go coach some wide receivers somewhere at college or whatever, and then come back to the pros and coach there.
Let's give him a chance with Tua. Let's
Sure.
give him a chance.
Sure,
Just
fine.
give him a couple games. Let's see what happens.
In fantasy terms, though, not pickupable,
no,
right?
no.
Not playable, none of the above. Yeah.
Oh, God, no.
We're all in agreement. Ray is violently shaking his head. No, his hat almost fell off.
And then I will, real quick, before we go, A-Chain and Mostert. I think it helps them a lot, too. Obviously, it's going to open up the run game, now the screen game, underneath everything like that. So now you have to guard Tyreek deep, Jalen Waddle deep. Look for the underneath game as well.
Yep. Jonnu Smith is an interesting one. You're right. He doesn't throw to the tight ends much. Let's talk really quick. I want to hear you guys' opinions. Should he be coming back to play football?
Go ahead, Ray.
That's a Tua decision. I'm not one to say if he should or shouldn't. I'm not making decisions with someone else's life. If he feels comfortable enough to go back out on the field, I'm here to bet on it and get fantasy points on it. Like I'm here for it.
Nice take.
I think Ray hit it right on the head. It's the man's decision. It's his life. None of us are in any position to tell a man how to live his life. If Tua wants to play, let him play. The thing, and I mean, I'm not to the level of an NFL player, but as an athlete, I understand. Like it's in your blood. It's just something you want. You always want to compete. You always want to be on the field.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember fracturing my ankle in high school. I said, "Well, can I play this week?" It's just in the nature of a football player and any athlete, really, basketball, any sport you play, you just want to get back out there.
Yep. I remember I was sick on a podcast week, and I was like, "Can I podcast this week?" Oh, my bad. Not the same.
Out. Al was ruled out.
Yeah, I was ruled out that week. Yep. That was one of the episodes we missed. But in all seriousness, I think I'm happy to his making the decision he's making. I know he wants to be out there and play. I also will say this, and this always stirs a little pot when I bring this up to people. If he wasn't a quarterback, I don't think people would care as much. There are linebackers who get concussed.
Yeah.
They've had more probably than Tua. There are wide receivers or safeties that have been concussed that get up slow and get to stay in the game, and they don't even get brought off. So I think if it wasn't a quarterback, there wouldn't be as much. I don't want to use the word concern because we were always concerned with concussions.
It's the name too.
But it just wouldn't be as big of a deal if it was like I don't know if you guys remember Austin Collie.
Oh man,
Yeah.
He had a few bad concussions and he finally hung it up.
He was so good.
But it wasn't it wasn't as big of a deal as this Tua situation is. It feels like, at least.
I also think it was kind of the optics of seeing Tua look like he is having a seizure on the field, that. I think everybody seeing that on TV, I think also made it a really big deal for him because, it looked like the man died out there.
Sure,
twice.
The fencing position or whatever it's called. Austin Collie had that on one of them too.
Yeah.
And it is scary. Remember Anquan Bolden in the end zone too? I think it was when he was against the Ravens as he was a Cardinal. That was terrifying. But all those guys came back and no one was like, should they come back and play football? I know Anquan Bolden did mention that he considered retiring after that play.
Well, Luke Kuechly is an example who retired
he left early
because he had concussions.
Yep. What was our Niner linebacker that left early?
Chris Borland.
Chris Borland, yeah. Yep.
Oh,
him as well.
That's going way back.
Yep. Andrew Luck left early. It
wasn't concussions for him necessarily, though.
Yeah, it was just overall. Yeah. I think overall health.
And the Colts suck. So. Wow. Well, okay, the front office. Sorry.
Yeah. All right. So moving on from Tua, let's go into Week 8 matchups. I'm going to hit a few that I really want to talk about with you guys, and then we'll probably just close out. Shortest episode ever? Could we pull it off?
Love it.
What is the shortest episode ever?
Probably the one that we had technical difficulties on the second half, so we had to cut it in half.
Oh, yeah.
Or else it would have been dangerously long again, per use.
Yep.
Let's start with Thursday night. The finally defeated Minnesota Vikings and the Los Angeles Rams, who are going to be with Cooper Kupp this week in Week 8. What do you guys think? Who are we looking at? What's going to happen in this game?
Possibly Puka. I don't think he's going to come back tomorrow, but he is questionable. He did get in limited practice, but it is estimated with the short weeks. They don't actually practice. They do a walkthrough on Wednesdays. This is an interesting matchup. I look at it where you think the Vikings should just move the ball on them very easily. I wonder if the Vikings come back down to earth a little bit now that they lost a game. Aaron Jones has been great. Justin Jefferson, obviously a premier receiver. Sam Darnold's been a good quarterback. Actually, I believe he was a top 10 quarterback until this past week. This is a game where it says the Vikings should dominate, but look out for they got some pieces over there. Kyron Williams, he's a stud, running back 5 on the year.
Damn right.
Cooper Kupp coming back, that should be a big impact. If Puka and Cooper Kupp play, that's going to be huge. I think this offense, and now I know the Vikings have a good defense, but you're talking about 3 studs, 3 guys who win the first 3 rounds. Yeah. So you have to start them.
I don't think Puka plays.
I don't think so either.
Yeah, but I think Kupp being back out there is huge. The guy gets 57 targets in one half, so that's big. And you mentioned Kyron Williams, but I kind of want to know from Ray, what are you doing with Matthew Stafford? What are you doing with Sam Darnold? Are you even playing either of those guys? 12-team league, 12-team, 1 quarterback league.
If you have a better option, then play the other option. Stafford, what do you have, 154 yards or something last week? It wasn't good.
With Kupp back, though.
Kupp being back helps immensely. And I'm actually Tutu Atwell's another guy we haven't mentioned yet who's been a target hog these past few weeks, or 2 weeks anyway.
Mm-hmm.
9 targets against the Raiders, 10 against Green Bay, 6 catches in each of those games. So he's a dude too. I think having Kupp out there is a lot when the Niners have Debo out there, their offense just moves a lot better. It works the way it should, So that'll be nice for Stafford and that whole Rams offense.
Agreed. Parkinson as well was also getting many targets. I think he finally took a step back last week on the target share at least, and I think that he will probably be most affected negatively if Cooper Kupp is out there because they kind of operate in the same range of the field, same area, right? The short stuff, the curls, the slants, the little tight end stuff that Cooper Kupp comes in and gobbles up middle of the field.
You want a fun little stat real quick?
I'll take a little nuggie.
Matthew Stafford, 5 games. They've had a bye week already.
Mm-hmm.
3 touchdowns, 4 interceptions on the year in 5 games.
He's only throwing 3 touchdowns.
He's only throwing 3 touchdowns.
Because Kyron's running them all in.
And actually, I'm looking right now. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, that was –
that was my fun stat. Kyron scored a touchdown every game this season.
Kyron's been great. Kyron's been awesome.
So are you saying to lay anytime touchdown on Kyron Williams with all the money you have in your wallet every week?
Yeah, this is the week he'll probably miss one. That's how it goes, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
So, yeah, it says 3 touchdowns. I'm trying to find the 3rd touchdown, though. It shows 1 against Green Bay. Oh, he probably threw 1 against Detroit. I don't know why Detroit's not on this screen. So,
Detroit, stand up.
Green Bay, San Francisco, and Detroit, which is ironically probably the 3 hardest defenses. Chicago's up there, but 3 hardest defenses. He's thrown 3 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Wow. I think he's not playable until he gets a full stat. And then the offensive line, too. You got to look at the offensive line. That matters. That does matter in fantasy football.
Oh, yeah.
I know people, they don't get stats, but if they can't block, then Stafford's going to be on his back, and he can't throw from his back, obviously. But
I think he did throw from his back once.
He did. You are right. You are correct. He did do it once.
Yeah, he's got a cannon of an arm. It's insane.
I think you got to wait till they're fully healthy till you start Stafford.
How about a name that we didn't mention at all, and then we'll move on from this game? Jordan Addison. He's missed 2 games. He's only played 4 games. He's got 20 targets, 12 catches, 209 yards, and a touchdown. Jalen Naylor, 12 catches, 213 yards, and 3 touchdowns in 6 games. So he hasn't missed any. Did Naylor pass Addison on the pecking chart, or was it just a sign of Addison missing 2 games? Right.
I don't know if he's passed him on the depth chart or not, but I was watching. There was a game a couple games ago that Naylor should have had like 3 touchdowns, but like 2 of them got called back for penalties. So he's definitely been targeted and involved in this offense. I'm not sure what to think on Addison.
I'm an Addison guy. I really liked Addison coming into last year. I think the injuries have been part of it. I think for going forward, people need to realize how important chemistry is with a receiver and a quarterback. Jordan Addison just might not be a Sam Darnold guy. Sam Darnold, he feels clearly more comfortable with Jalen Naylor. Obviously, he feels comfortable with Justin Jefferson. I don't think maybe Jordan Addison is just not a Sam Darnold kind of guy, and we have to start looking into that. Now, if J.J. McCarthy comes back next year, it's a different conversation. Now is Jordan Addison back to where he kind of was this year, where he was ranked going into drafts? I don't know if I would trust Jordan Addison going forward. He might not even be rosterable at this point.
Wow.
I'm a Jordan Addison fan, but I don't trust him right now, and I'm going to need to see at least 2 big games. Everyone could do 1 game, but I need 2.
Not rosterable. That's bold to me. That's
bold. Okay, let's do this. Would you rather have Jordan Addison or Josh Downs?
Come on, man.
I know.
To be honest, though, you know my feel on the quarterback in Indianapolis, so Jordan Addison, because he's not attached to
Ray. Who would you pick?
Same, actually. Yeah.
Okay, let's do Jordan Addison or Jalen Tolbert.
Addison.
Really?
Yeah.
That one's closer for me. I don't know. I might go Tolbert.
All right, let me see if I can throw one more in there. Let's do Jordan Addison or Romeo Doubs.
Rome!
I'm picking on you a little bit because these are 3 guys you've mentioned.
Yeah.
And you have some kind of feeling towards.
I will say that Romeo, since he threw his fit, if you want to call it that, since he got upset and diva'd out a little bit, they have let him run better routes, which was my big complaint, and he has scored touchdowns. So I think Romeo for that one.
He had 10 targets last week. Yeah, I got to go with Romeo.
Yeah, they're finally feeding him because he, did what he did. But in 4 games, right, he's had 12 catches for 209 and a touchdown, Addison. I don't know. I think rest away, if he stays healthy, I think he's going to be pretty good. I think he's definitely rosterable. Not rosterable. Wild.
I think we're still looking for that big splash, though.
Sure. I think he had one in week 1, and then he's simmered down since, I believe.
Yeah.
Eagles, Bengals. Y'all want to talk about that one?
Let's do it.
Eagles, Bengals. Ray, start us off, dude.
I mean, Saquon. How about Saquon the man? I mean, what else is there to say? 176 yards at a tutty last week. Bengals run defense giving up the 9th most rushing yards. Start the man. He's going off again.
Dude, Saquon has been an absolute dog.
Man, I keep thinking back to Hard Knocks, watching the GM talk and how you just let them set the market. And then that game against the Giants, I was like, yeah, that's how you set the market right there.
Yeah, wild.
I still don't understand to this date how that man was a second-round pick in fantasy drafts. All these so-called experts put him in a round 2 ADP. And I tell people this, like, really think about it. Besides maybe Christian McCaffrey, would you say there's anyone more talented than Saquon Barkley at the running back position?
Maybe Bijan. Maybe
I'll put Bijan up. Bijan's possible.
Maybe Jonathan Taylor.
But just from a talent standpoint, so from a talent standpoint, though, who would you rather take?
Yeah, no, Saquon is explosive.
Yeah,
and good at catching,
yeah.
And I would even argue he might be better than CMC, talent-wise, just talent-wise. I'm not saying he is.
Pure talent.
But I can. If someone made the argument and made the statement, I'm not going to call him crazy.
I mean, the dude has been absolutely legit since Penn State. I mean, he's unreal.
The guy's a top talent. My point is he's a top talent, and he went to a team, a good running team, with a good offensive line and a good offense.
Mm-hmm.
How this guy was RB 8, 9, 10, wherever people had him, is just beyond me. And that's why going forward, just draft who you like. Because Saquon, look at Derrick Henry, look at the top running backs.
Yep.
These are guys that were second round, third round even.
Yep.
So Saquon, he's balling out. He's one of the best players. He'd probably be the running back I want the rest of the way. I think he's going to be RB1 going forward.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to argue that, besides, of course, Kyron Williams, because of my take of him being in the top 3 at the end. So I have to say his name every time I can.
Hey, I don't blame you.
A.J. Brown, back, healthy,
Beast.
looks good, absolute stud. Devonta Smith, I don't think Dallas Goedert's going to play again this week. Jalen Hurts is a start every week as well, right, for the Eagles?
Yes. I will say, though, I think Jalen Hurts and Devonta Smith have been a little disappointing. A little bit. I mean, Devonta Smith last week, I again, just traded for him in another league, gave up Garrett Wilson for him in a package deal. Devonta Smith, 0.8 points last week. Jalen Hurts has to find a way to get him the ball as well. He has a great connection with A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown and Saquon are going to be fine. He's got to find a way to get Devonta in the game. And I would be curious to see what Jalen Hurts' fantasy numbers would look like if you took away his rushing touchdowns. Because I mean, from fantasy, that's a thing about fantasy football. You can't take it away. That's not fair to Jalen Hurts. But I do want to see more out of him in the passing game because I know he's capable. We've seen it before.
Yep. Bengals side of the ball, Ray. Anyone that I want a nugget. I would need a Ray nugget on the Bengals side of the ball. I have one kind of teed up, but I want to hear something from Ray on the Bengals side.
The main nugget I got from this game is that Jamaar Chase is that dude. Over 6 targets in every game this season, except for one. He's got 6 TDs on the year, I believe. It is nice to see T. Higgins' involvement since he came back. I don't have any super smart nuggets on him, but I would love to see
my nuggets on him. So good.
Nice. If the Bengals don't do well before this trade deadline comes up, T. Higgins is a name that, is potentially tradable because of his contract situation. But I'd love to see him with the Niners. But, that's neither here nor there.
I wouldn't mind T going to San Francisco. I'm not a T. Higgins fan much at all, which is kind of wild. I feel like I'm very much in the minority on that.
Yeah, T. Higgins is that guy.
Yeah, Greg was trying to trade me him, and I said, I love take T out and put a different wide receiver in there, and we have a deal.
Wow.
But what's kind of wild is that humble brag, small, actually, you know what? Not even humble, just boisterous brag. I happen to have both Saquon Barkley and Jamaar Chase, and you guys both said that those are that dudes on a team, and I'm 6-1. So it makes sense that those
Checks
two
out.
dudes are carrying us to 6-1 as of now. My one loss, what a fluke, freaking Chris. Anyways, so my nugget on T. Higgins, he's not hit 100 yards yet this year. Did you guys know that?
He has not.
Okay. And he has 3 touchdowns on the year. I know you guys know that.
Yeah, he missed like 3 games, right?
Yeah, he's played in 5.
5.
Okay.
So he's efficient. I will say that. His targets to his reception numbers are pretty good. I just, maybe if Jamaar wasn't there, T is that dude. But I think he hasn't hit 100 yards yet. Whatever. I'm bad-mouthing T. Higgins for no reason, to be honest. But
a little bit.
I just had my nugget. He has not hit 100 yards yet this year. So I guess what I'm saying is he's probably due to hit 100 soon. But right now, Jamaar Chase is just being completely dominant in that wide receiver room and kind of leaving everyone else to be like that's a true alpha, right? We go back to the Ayuk thing, talking about Ayuk as an alpha. I think a true alpha is Jamaar Chase. Like he is the guy there. Without him, the wide receiver room falters.
I do like T. Higgins going forward. Jamaar Chase obviously is going to be that guy, like we said. Their schedule is kind of interesting. It's a easy game, let me put it this way: a good matchup fantasy-wise versus a bad matchup. So, they play the Eagles and then the Raiders. The Raiders are 27th against wide receivers, but I don't think anyone's scared of the Raiders. Like, Jamaar Chase should still eat them up. Then you got Baltimore, who's been the worst against receivers. Chargers, 28th. Bye. Pittsburgh, 26th. Dallas, 16th. Tennessee, 22nd. Cleveland, 2nd. Denver, 31st. So I will say, if you have T. Higgins, this might be a good time to sell high. I like T. Higgins a lot. I really do. I think he's the one that's going to be most affected by this. It's a little rocky schedule.
By the schedule.
I think this is a time where you might be able to get someone who's a little better than T. Higgins, and this is the time to do it. If you have depth, if you have T. Higgins, go get a DJ Moore. I would personally rather have DJ Moore.
Their
who's
schedule
number one.
is soft.
Super easy.
Yeah, the Bears.
Super easy. Just looking at names, I would have said Mike Evans until he got hurt. So there's a couple. You're reaching for the stars. Maybe Malik Neighbors because his values come down a little bit since he got hurt. I'm just recommending this could be a time to sell high if you have depth at receiver.
Chase Brown, Zach Moss. Are we? What is? Are they startable? Maybe flex options. Maybe. Or are you just staying away from? Are you loving Chase Brown because the hype? What's the words?
I'm on the Chase Brown bandwagon. Chase Brown is the guy. Chase Brown needs more carries. That's all. I think Chase Brown is clearly better than Zach Moss.
It pains me to admit because I'm stuck in a situation where I have no choice but to be starting Zach Moss, but I agree with you. I'm not happy about my situation having Zach Moss right now. I think Chase Brown's, if he hasn't taken over, he will shortly.
Yeah, Chase Brown averages 5 yards a carry. Zach Moss averages 3.3 yards a carry. Chase Brown has 1 more touchdown than Zach Moss. And he also...
Chase Brown's just more efficient. He runs the ball better than Zach Moss. He looks like the clear better running back in that situation.
Chase Brown, is that true? I'm looking at you, Chase. Let's pull this profile up. All right, but so you're forced to have to start Zach Moss. If you don't have to, don't start him. Ray, is that
Correct.
what I'm hearing?
Yes.
Why would you be forced to? There's a lot of running backs I'd rather start over Zach Moss. That
Nah.
aren't necessarily number one.
Not in his league, not in Ray's
Not in this league.
Oh, I get it.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough.
Pobre Ray. Pobre Ray.
It's tough.
I hear you.
Baltimore, Cleveland. Jameis Winston
Jameis Winston game.
going to start this week. Cedric Tillman.
Ew.
Yeah.
That's gross.
No ew.
No, fantasy-wise, it's
No
great,
ew.
but
He somehow cleared the waiver, and I grabbed him free of waivers. I was like, excuse me.
Is
Yes.
it going to be consistent? I don't know. It's just
No Amari Cooper there.
I don't think I want anyone on Cleveland.
No Amari Cooper there. Jameis Winston, all he does is throw the ball. Ray, what do you think? Browns. Give me something from the Browns side.
You know what? Njoku maybe. Um, I don't have a lot for the Browns. We'll have to see. Jameis, yes, he likes to throw. To be honest, I'm a little sad. I was excited for the DTR show, Dorian Thompson Robinson, but that did not work out. Bishop Gorman alum from here in Vegas.
Yep.
But yeah, I think Njoku is probably your only option there.
No Jerry Jeudy.
God, I hope so. That'd
No
be nice
Cedric
to see.
Tillman.
I think these are guys who are rosterable on your bench, and if you're starting them, it's because you're on buys or injuries.
I think Tillman's a pickup. Jeudy, if you've already rostered Jeudy, he become a more intriguing stash if you still have him on your roster. 12 targets, 8 catches, 81 yards, Cedric Tillman. Put that on.
Listen.
Put that on.
I'm just saying.
Kid from Tennessee, man.
Go ahead and start him.
Rocky Top.
Start him over Jamaar Chase. Go ahead.
Go stand on that throne, baby.
Yeah, but stand on that throne.
You guys
stand on the throne, Al.
You guys are tripping. I dropped Xavier Leggett for him. I feel good about it.
That's okay. I can get behind that.
Fair enough.
Can we give a shout out to Nick Chubb? I'm very happy he's back.
I was going to say Nick Chubb.
I am happy he's back. I have said I don't think he comes back to how he was. I'm just very happy he's back. He scored a touchdown. I just hope he's at least rosterable, and I think he is. But I hope he gets back. I really hope I'm wrong because I'm a Nick Chubb guy.
Yep.
I ended up with Nick Chubb, I felt like, every single year in fantasy.
Hey, he actually looked. I know his stats weren't great, but there were some flashes of him where it's like, okay, he's still in there.
He looked okay.
That touchdown run looked like prime Chubb. Like
let him know, Ray.
On that one run, he looked like he had it all.
Let him know, Ray.
Still a little slow, slower than my. But I really hope Nick Chubb comes back and he's back to his old form.
And then how about one of the most electric, efficient, unreal offenses I think the NFL has seen in a while, Baltimore Ravens. Dude, what? Are they not a well-oiled machine right now? This is insane to watch.
I have a fantasy league where I have Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry.
Oh, beautiful.
And I'm like, I don't know how it happened.
Yeah, beautiful. What league is that?
It's a 10-man league I do with my flag football guys.
Okay, yeah. I was like, wait, that's not in
No. I have Derrick Henry in a couple leagues, but no, not CBS, unfortunately.
The league that I'm 6-1 in, I also have Lamar Jackson.
Nice.
Little boisterous brag. But, guys, I don't know. It's unreal. I mean, Lamar is operating at a ridiculous pace. Derrick Henry is King Henry.
A monster.
I want to hear Ray real quick because I can talk about the Ravens for hours on this point.
Yeah, we can ooze all day, Ray. Go ahead.
I mean, what? Yeah, no, same. Lamar 5 touchdowns last week. Derrick Henry 11 yards a carry. Are you kidding me? That's stupid. Who does that? 15 for 169. Crazy.
Yeah, they're insane, right? They're actually to be honest, I think they're the best team right now too.
He almost said favorite team. He almost said they're his favorite team.
They're going to be my favorite AFC team this year.
To watch.
Jerry Jones calling him up soon.
Every week tuning in for them. I picked up Rashad Bateman in a couple leagues. I'm interested about. I liked Bateman when he came out. Obviously, it's been a struggle for him a little bit.
Gophers, yep.
But I'm hoping he can turn it around and be valuable in this offense. Mark Andrews is looking viable, at least a touchdown machine.
Listen, Bateman has the second most targets on the team.
Yeah.
21 catches, 394, and 3 touchdowns on 30 targets. Second most on the team behind only Zay Flowers.
It's a very run-heavy, and Lamar, remember the knock on Lamar was he couldn't hit his receivers.
Yep.
When he first came out and played in his first few years. Now, these last couple of years, he's getting his receivers about Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman. I'm excited to see how he keeps he's just getting better and better every week, too. It's just this offense is just, oh, my God. It's amazing to watch. King Henry looks like he's still the king of the league and the best running back.
Yep.
Lamar Jackson, honestly, you could argue he's the best quarterback right now. So it's just an exciting time. I'm probably caught in the moment. I'm just really because I have Lamar and Derrick Henry.
He's oozing.
I'm telling you, I'm excited about these two.
Bro, I learned this term, quick glazing, on the Ravens right now. Bro.
My bad, bro.
I just recently learned what that means.
I don't know if that's PG, but
I don't know what that means. So
you don't know, Ray? You should know. You're the one with the kids.
I don't know what it means, but it just sounds.
I got to hear it before I can ask them what it means, so I haven't heard that one. But
if they start obsessing on something, just say, "Yo, stop glazing," and they'll look at you like, "No way."
Oh, they're gonna look at him like he's crazy.
Said that. No
Love
way Dad just said that.
Perfect. I'm going to use it. I will.
Yes. Please.
But before we move on, though, I did have to say, since y'all mentioned Zay Flowers, and a couple weeks ago I wasn't on the show, and I had put in my notes about Zay Flowers, and y'all kind of wasn't really feeling me on that. And he went off that game. Just wanted to throw that out there.
You guys weren't feeling it, or Al wasn't feeling it?
Al wasn't
Zay
feeling
Flowers
it.
guy.
Al wasn't feeling that.
Have I ever said on the podcast what my Zay Flowers fantasy football team name is?
Oh no.
Al, why do you hate this team name? This is Ray.
What
I
is
need
it?
you to decide.
Give it to me.
This is going to be the end of the episode. Right
I had Zay Flowers in pretty much every league I was in last year. And all my team names essentially were April Showers bring Zay Flowers.
I'm going to have to agree with Al on that
This is where you play sound bites, sir. This is where you play. We have new sound bites.
Are you kidding me?
You hit it. Which one do you want to hit? What? That's a banger. That's a banger. I want to go see what Al's team's names are now. Hold on.
Wow. All right, Ray. Have a good night, man.
What did he say? Was Ray a fan or not a fan?
No, he was not
that's
a fan.
pass. That's a pass
What
for me.
are we? Oh, my God. April Showers bring Zay Flowers?
Oh, wow.
I feel like there's so many more punts we could do with Zay and or Flowers, but that's all right. We'll workshop it. We'll get a whiteboard.
We don't even have to workshop. We just burn it down. Just burn it down all the way down.
I'm trying to see what Al's. I want to see what Al's team name is real quick.
Resurrection of Mark Andrews, really quick, Ray. How do you feel about it? And
it feels touchdown dependent to me. I don't
still,
know.
do you think?
What do you have? 4 catches for 2 touchdowns last week?
I'm gonna look.
Only 4 targets too.
4 targets. It doesn't seem like it's the resurgence of Mark Andrews or the Mark Andrews we're used to seeing from last year or 2 years ago. It just feels very touchdown dependent. I could be wrong.
No, I think you're right. Looking at the numbers, I think you're right. I'm a big Mark Andrews supporter, but I think you guys are probably nailing it. It's just my fandom, I think, taking over with the I'm happy Mark Andrews is back.
April Showers brings Zay Flowers is better than Watch the Throne. Anyways,
Watch the Throne is my fantasy football team name.
I see that
in one league.
I had to call it out.
And the other one is Phil the Breeze. It's an homage to Pops. And I'm 6-1 with Phil the Breeze.
I won't knock that one.
Yeah, my dad was Phil the Breeze with BREES.
Shout out to Al Senior.
Yeah, I'm running that one.
So back to Mark Andrews real quick. You're right. So I am gonna steal a stat I overheard. When he was in his elite years, he was running 80% of his 80% of the plays he was on the field. 80% of those he was running routes. Mm-hmm. Right now it's 60. So while it's better than the 2 zeros that we saw earlier this year, he's still not quite to where he was and where he was drafted. So I do think but the way the tight end is set up, he is startable. I mean, there's probably maybe 5 guys I'd rather start than Mark Andrews, but he's if you're expecting Mark Andrews of old, I wouldn't really expect those numbers.
He's still not here, huh?
And look, being a touchdown dependent isn't the worst thing to be on this Ravens offense. They're scoring touchdowns all the damn time. So, if he gets one a week, you're good.
What a freaking offense, man. And their defense is stellar, too. That team they're damn good.
The funny thing is the defense, it'll show that they give up a lot of fantasy points to quarterbacks and receivers. That's because everyone's always passing on them.
Right.
They can't run the ball on them.
They're always trailing, and their rush defense is incredible.
Right. Mm-hmm. So it is a little misleading. But you are going to get good fantasy points when you play them because your quarterback and receiver is probably passing the whole time.
It just, going to real life football for a half second, it doesn't feel like it's Chiefs AFC side, obviously, this year.
I'm leaning towards the Ravens right now.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like it's Chiefs for sure like it has been the last few.
I'm leaning towards the Ravens-Lions Super Bowl right now.
Don't hate it.
But it's right now. It's still early.
Don't hate
Still got a lot of football.
We are at minute 46 with maybe a 2-minute break in there.
Maybe a 2-minute.
We've done 3 games.
Have we only done 3 games?
We've only done 3 games.
No
We're at minute 46 with 3 games. I'm going to skip over a few.
I was going to say,
we're not going to talk Jets, Patriots, right? I'm going to mention the games I'm going to skip over. If you guys don't talk about it, poke me. Ray, you can't poke me, but Gabe can. Arizona, Miami. We talked about 2 already. Probably don't need to talk too much about Cardinal side.
That one's probably going to be a good fantasy. There's going to be a lot of fantasy points in that
Points
game.
scored, sure. Jets, Patriots. Give me a quick – that's what we'll do. Gabe just gave me a quick nugget from there. Jets, Patriots. Ray, give me a quick nugget from that one.
Wait, I got to scroll to my notes.
Jets, Patriots. I gave that to Ray. Ooh. My bad, dog.
Give me the easy one.
My bad, dog.
Bills, Cardinals. At least there's a lot of players in that one.
My bad,
Or not
dog.
Bills, Cardinals. I'm sorry. Dolphins, Cardinals.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I mean, I got a couple things to say about Jets Patriots. You want?
Yeah, hit him.
At least it's only one side of the ball. You're just looking at the Jets offense, really.
Yeah, essentially, Brees Hall is just the beast. 141 total yards and a TD last week. 6 catches. Like, that's incredible. And it's going to take some time for Devontae Adams to get in the flow. Like, 3 for 30 is not going to cut it. Better hope he's not asking for a trade next week.
Are you talking Patriots at all? I do have one question about the Jets since you're our Jets expert, Ray.
Expert. Let's go.
Is Braylon Allen not part of the offense anymore since Salah's gone? It seems like he's become a afterthought.
He sure disappeared quick, didn't he?
Yeah.
What? Like, yeah.
So let me ask you this: if you're rostering him in a couple leagues, I don't know anyone who is. Do you drop him for someone on the waiver wire, or is he still a hold?
Asking for a friend, I see.
Yeah, asking for a friend. It's me.
I might hold. I wouldn't just drop him just to drop him. If there's a if there's a good option, then sure, yeah, you can. He's disposable at this point. But if you got the roster spot and you can hold him, why not? See what happens.
Yeah.
You know, you never know. He's one injury away from being back in the starting lineup, but
Right.
He's an injury away from being a top 10 running back.
Yeah, he's damn good, right? He is damn good. I'm just curious why they went away from him so fast.
I don't know.
I had to ask our Jets expert, Fletcheer.
I have actually inside information on that.
Oh.
Jeff Ulbrich has him in his fantasy league. You should. That was a soundbite. We gotta get used to these sound bites.
Yeah, my bad.
It's okay. We'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get
I'm
there.
not mad at you.
I don't know what one's the laughing, so my fault.
It's okay.
It's
okay. We'll get there.
All right, we got Green Bay, Jacksonville. I'll let Gabe take this one since Ray took the last one.
Man, I mean, there's playable guys here. Packers offense should go off. Jaguars defense is horrendous. Josh Jacobs. You can start any of the receivers in Romeo Doubs. Jaden Reed obviously is a must start. Christian Watson and Dontavius Wicks looks if you're pretty desperate and need a receiver play. I do want to talk about one name on the Packers side of the ball that's not getting a whole lot of recognition.
Can I guess it?
Go ahead, take a guess.
Emmanuel Wilson?
No.
Tucker Kraft.
Tucker Kraft.
Nice. Yeah.
I think he's definitely a top 10 tight end at this point. I'm actually willing to say, going the rest of the way, I think he's a top 5 tight end. I think he finishes this season strong. It seems like Jordan Love, every target towards Tucker Kraft is getting completion. I want to look this up real quick just to see what his.
You just think it's opportunity based, so he's going to be a top 5 the rest of the way.
And the tight end is just.
It's been miserable.
It's been terrible. Mm-hmm. But he's not necessarily killing it in targets.
What did you call this tight end recession market?
This tight end recession market. Yeah, this is 30 targets and 21 catches. So
efficient. It's
pretty efficient. He has 4 touchdowns on the year, and he has a pretty favorable schedule down the stretch for tight ends. So Tucker Kraft is a name. I actually made a trade for him. I traded Tyjae Spears for Tucker Kraft.
Yeah.
If you can find someone who is probably tight end heavy, like someone might have Sam Laporta and Tucker Kraft, and they still believe in Laporta, go get Tucker Kraft. Tucker Kraft is going to be a top tight end the rest of the way. You heard it here first.
Apparently, it's an Al mailbag episode.
Go
back to another question from Al.
Oh, okay.
Braylon Allen droppable for Tyjae Spears if Tyjae Spears is available in the league.
No.
No. Okay.
I would rather have Braylon Allen.
Ray?
Yeah, I'd probably stick with Braylon Allen for now.
Okay, sorry. Al mailbag, we're closing it back up. Jacksonville, you want to talk about anyone on Jacksonville? Tank Bigsby. What the hell?
Tank Bigsby's taking over. I'm a big Travis Etienne fan, and I think he is really talented, but he cannot stay healthy. And he got hurt. He started off great last year, and he was a top 3 running back. And then he had a little injuries here and there, a little banged up. Nothing that kept him out of games, but they affected his play. Mm-hmm. That's another thing I want to let people know that watch our podcast. There's so much more than just talent and scheme. You got to look out for if guys are hurt and they're just not playing efficient, you might be able to still trade him for – because he has a name.
Yeah,
He's Travis Etienne. He's a top guy. You drafted him in the second round. He might be able to still be tradable. Don't be afraid to trade him for a lesser name running back. Don't be afraid to trade him for a Bucky Irving.
Yep.
Don't be afraid to trade him for off the top of my head, I have no one, but you know
DeAndre Swift. Swift has turned a corner again.
He has, and he has a super easy schedule.
Yeah.
What I was gonna say is Chuba Hubbard. Don't be afraid to trade him for Chuba Hubbard.
Yep.
And I know people. Oh well,
Jonathan
Brooks is coming back. They're gonna ease Jonathan Brooks. Chuba Hubbard is still the number one. Hey, you really don't like.
I'm a Chuba Hubbard fan, so
don't be afraid to trade him for these guys. Like if you can get a lesser name but a more talented player, J.K. Dobbins, if that's possible, go get him. Because Travis Etienne, unfortunately, I love him. I don't think it's gonna work. And Tank Bigsby is balling.
Tank is rolling over him in his tank, isn't he?
Tank Big,
isn't he?
Play it. You know which one I'm playing. Don't play
Where's the laugh one?
Oh my gosh, we can't let I be in control of the soundboard. That was the cricket one. That was the crickets.
They love me. They love me out here in the studio.
Someone's got to.
Can I have one thing about this game, if you don't mind?
Hit it.
Who saw Brian Robinson Jr. being the top
Brian Thomas Jr.?
Sorry, Brian Thomas Jr. Who saw him being the top rookie wide receiver this year?
I believe that was Ray.
Oh, man. Look at the stats are crazy.
I was going to take your credit. I was going to take your note.
That guy. That guy
I thought you were trying to point at yourself.
I was, but I knew it wasn't me. I was waiting until someone said who it was, and then I was going to point a certain direction.
Look, I didn't think he was going to be the top rookie wide receiver. I thought he was going to have a good season, but he's
dope.
number one. He's number one right now of all these guys.
Good. He's damn good.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Can we also never mind. I don't want to rain on Ray's parade.
Go ahead. Rain away.
Well, I think Malik Neighbors would be if it wasn't for her. But no, Brian Thomas is amazing. Brian Thomas is actually, I would say, I really wanted him. He was a guy I was targeting. I can see him going on a run and finishing top 10.
He's made Christian Kirk become quite a bit less relevant, although Kirk has been better. But, I got to throw the Kirk shade at you guys.
I know. I feel bad because Kirk has not been that guy this year.
He's been on my bench most weeks. It's fine.
They have found a number one. I think Brian Thomas is legit.
Yeah, I do too.
And I give all the credit to Ray for that.
Atta baby Ray. Titans, Lions. We won't talk about this one for too much. I kind of want a nugget. I think it was the last game I gave you, so I'm going to give this one to Ray. But I will just mention Jamison Williams. Looks like he's facing a 2-game suspension for performance-enhancing drugs.
This guy needs to stay on the field.
The PED policy. Remember, we had the talk about I'm a little worried about his – I could see suspensions coming and stuff. Kind of weird. I
thought he was over it.
I weirdly predicted it.
What else can you suspend him for?
Yeah. He's kind of – he needs to get some –
They found something.
Yeah, something's going on. Anyways, Titans, Lions, Ray.
I don't know what to think about this Titans offense. If anything's going to be different without D-Hop, I don't really know. For the Lions, I mean, they've got weapons all over the place. Jahmyr Gibbs, how about Jahmyr Gibbs last week? 116 yards and 2 touchdowns.
About damn time they give him the ball.
Yeah, I'd like to see more of that. He also had 4 catches, so let's get more Jahmyr Gibbs action. I don't know. He went down for a little bit, looked serious, then he came back in.
Yep.
And I think he's good to go, so we'll see how that plays out. But I like seeing Jahmyr Gibbs get the ball.
I would say, listen, Montgomery is a good running back, but I just feel like he's in the way of Jahmyr Gibbs, to be honest. I think Gibbs is obviously the more talented guy, but Montgomery isn't bad enough to bench. So they're kind of just and they're in a good spot, the Lions. They have 2 really good running backs, and one that just happens to be the starter. But I think Gibbs, he's primed to break out for the rest of the year if they will give him the opportunity to.
I do want to, real quick, just to give some love to the Titans offense. Tony Pollard, he has been a shining point.
Good for Tony.
I'm happy for him as a former Cowboy. I was telling people that he broke his leg in the playoffs in January against the Niners in 2022. Last year, he was still recovering. So 2023 was a recovery year. We're seeing him now fully healthy. He's gotten a few games last year to recover and get some run. We're seeing him healthy. He's been pretty solid. I'd say you can comfortably play him as an RB2 against bad matchups. He's doing great. He's around 18 points. when he has tougher matchups, it's a little tougher, and he has to get that touchdown. And obviously, the Titans' offense aren't going to put up many touchdowns. But Tony Pollard, I think he is a guy that is a surprising point and a shining point for the Titans' offense.
I will say one more thing since I can't let us leave on a shining point for the Titans. Calvin Ridley, 36 targets, only 12 catches. That's a 33% catch rate. That's bad.
It's no bueno.
I don't.
Wow.
I just never saw the Calvin Ridley high. I loved him in Atlanta. After he left Atlanta, I just never saw it.
Speaking of Atlanta, Falcons, Tampa Bay, Evans out, Godwin out. Godwin looks like he's out for the year. You saw on the cart, he said
his leg was
looks
pointed
like
the other way.
Yeah, he said like my career is over. I'm like, man,
did he
career?
say that?
Yeah,
I did not catch that.
Yeah, he said that my career on the cart, like you could just lip read it.
I love Chris Godwin.
Yeah, and he's like, my career is over. I was like, ooh, damn.
I like to take credit that I found Chris Godwin because I had him in a lot of leagues when he first came on, like years ago. But
yes, you are the scout who got him in the NFL. Yes, Gabe Hernandez.
Good job, Gabe.
Yeah, Baker was having such a great year too,
Dude.
and I still think he's still playable, but don't expect the same numbers he's been putting up at least until Mike Evans comes back. I still think they find ways to get the ball. Like there's Jalen McMillan, who I mentioned preseason, who I think is a surprising rookie, and he can put up good numbers. I think he does have at least a role in this offense, and he can put up numbers for you. I think he can be a guy that could be a solid flex against bad matchups. Cade Otton had a great game, especially in this tight end market. He is rosterable, and you might want to play him in the next few weeks while they're still getting healthy. Sterling Shepard.
There you go. I was going to ask about him.
Sterling Shepard's a guy that he's a solid receiver too. He's a little tougher to play for me just because he's unpredictable.
Yep.
I think Jalen McMillan is the number one in this offense, but I do like Sterling Shepard. It's going to be a mix of both. He's just going to spread the ball out. So I do think Baker's still playable, and then when Mike Evans comes back, I do think he will be a top 10 quarterback again. Unfortunately, but Godwin was his guy, and Godwin was that difference maker for Tampa. So that does hurt. It does suck. I know it was a very controversial injury. A lot of people had a lot of opinions on it. Right or wrong, it doesn't matter. We just never want to see him get hurt.
Evans is out for at least a month, right? What was his injury?
Hamstring.
That's what I thought. It looked like his hamstring just came undone, like off the bone. It was weird.
The first touchdown, he was still lingering. Like he walked and limped towards the sideline. And then he had another 9 route, which is the go route, and threw it up to him and just lingered again. He just
he caught it, but then it popped or whatever, and he dropped the ball.
Yeah. I don't know why you're making him run 9 routes and go. I know that's his thing, but he has a hamstring injury, for Christ's sake.
He was in a lot of pain.
A
lot of pain.
Yeah, you got to pull him at that point.
I felt real bad for Mike Evans. Falcons, really quick. Ray, if you want anything on the Falcons side, go for it.
Bijan, baby, 3 touchdowns in the last 2 games. He's also got 9 targets in the last 2 games. So he's, I think, finding his rhythm, and they're coming on a little bit with Bijan.
Finally figuring out how to use him.
Yeah.
Is Drake London a wide receiver 1?
It's close. 2, maybe.
I think he's a wide receiver 2 in fantasy.
Yeah.
And he's making a name. He's playing better.
Yeah.
I'm the biggest Drake London. I'm the hater.
Yeah.
I'm the hater on Drake London. I'll admit it. I kind of want him though because their schedule's super easy.
Sure.
So
and they play. I'm a weird big believer in the indoor teams going into fantasy playoff weeks because most teams that are outdoors are playing in the cold weather. Could be snowy, could be sleety, could be rainy.
I just feel like dome games are always high scoring.
Of course, yeah, of course. Drake London leads the team in targets, 62. Second is Darnell Mooney at 53, who gets not a lot of love in the fantasy community.
I gave him some love.
Yeah, for sure. But I think he's not really they don't get talked about too much, and he probably isn't started much, although he's very startable, I would say, as a wide receiver. Kyle Pitts third on the team in targets at 37. Kyle Pitts finally showing up, which is nice.
He's playing better.
Yeah,
he's playing better.
Nice. But again, it's a tight end position, so
he's a star.
All right, last question on the Falcons, and I think we're only going to cover one more game after this, and it's going to be our game, the Sunday Night Football game.
Got to.
Kirk Cousins. I mean, he had over 500 yards one week, which is just ridiculous. Is Kirk Cousins a weekly start now? Like, do you start Kirk Cousins over Patrick Mahomes?
Go ahead, Ray.
Yeah, I would. Patrick Mahomes, man, like I don't know.
No, it's very
what's going
subpar,
on.
right?
Yeah, it's borderline droppable at this point.
Right. I saw that headline. Someone said
yeah, and that's crazy to think. But like Kirk, that offense, they're happy to throw the ball, and Kirk's in there. He's efficient. He makes things happen, makes plays. So yeah.
Let me give a couple more names. Kirk Cousins over Jordan Love.
That's a tough one. 'Cause Jordan Love throws a lot too. I would probably still take Jordan Love.
I'd probably take Kirk, but
Kirk over Dak Prescott.
Dak.
Kirk over Brock Purdy.
Well, I mean, if Ayuk and Debo are out, then yeah.
Kirk.
Yep. I'm just trying to think of players that people might have and also have Kirk and be like, oh, yeah, let me play Kirk this week.
I will say I still think Kirk is kind of matchup based. I don't know if you have Kirk on your team. I don't know if you say, oh, I got my every week quarterback.
Right.
I do think he is kind of matchup based, and Kirk he's one of the. There's two ways to kind of go about a quarterback. You either have a star like Lamar or Burrow, Jaden Daniels, or you have Kirk Cousins and Jordan Love, who you just kind of play based off matchup. Whoever has the better matchup, I'm going to play them. That's kind of the way I like to go about quarterback at least. If I don't have a stud, I'm going to have two solid quarterbacks. And because 1 week they can get you 30.
Yep.
Next week they could get you 5.
Right.
So that's kind of how I look at Kirk. He's a stud quarterback, but he's someone that you can bench on bad matchups, and you want to have another backup to play with him.
I have two more names that just crossed my mind as you're saying that because I had a guy that gave me 5 points in my quarterback spot, I think, this week. Kyler Murray or Kirk Cousins?
Kyler's a name that has not been great this year.
After
he's
the
been
first
okay.
2 weeks, yeah, he's been terrible.
Yeah, he has not. We haven't seen that Kyler game, but he still has the potential with the legs. I'll go with Kyler just because I still feel like his ceiling is just a little higher. But to be honest, Kirk is probably the better quarterback to play.
Yeah, give me Captain Kirk.
Yeah. And then the other guy, Geno Smith.
Ooh.
Or Kirk.
I'd rather have Kirk.
But yeah, me too. Geno's been way better than I've expected him to be, but yeah, I'm still.
He led
Kirk.
the league in passing yards going into last week, Geno.
That's
did.
crazy.
I will say this, though. Kirk is better as of right now than Kyler, but I still hope of a high ceiling for Kyler. I still am hopeful that he turns it around, figures it out, and be that top 5 quarterback that we thought he could be.
Yeah, me freaking too. I have Kyler on the same league that I have CMC. So.
Oof.
Not a good. That's my worst league for sure.
Oh, that's my Yahoo team.
Yeah.
1-6, baby.
2-5. 2-5. Ray, what's your worst? Now that we're talking our worst league.
I have a 1-6 as well.
Ooh, gosh. What's your best?
5-2.
He's like 2-5. Like, oh, why is this guy on the show?
Definitely not.
5-2. Okay, what's your
Yeah.
best?
6-1 CBS, baby.
6-1, yeah, 6-1.
Oh, I have another 6. I have 2 6-1 teams.
Very good. Very good. All right, let's end it with the Cowboys versus the 49ers. It's our game. Might as well end it. We talked Niners a lot earlier, so we can kind of go Cowboys. So, Gabe, I'll give you the floor to start.
Well, hopefully we can turn it around. It was not a good showing against Detroit. That was a game that I was expecting a lot of fireworks, a lot of fantasy points.
A lot of people.
I thought this was going to be CD's coming out game. I can see a lot of points in this game too still. I'm not saying it's going to be a high-scoring game. I'm hoping CD gets back into it. The Cowboys' offense is just like people like Rico Dowdle and Jalen Tolbert. These are guys that you can play with good matchups. I don't know if this is a good matchup necessarily this week against the Niners. I think the only two that you're starting for sure is CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott. I was a big Jake Ferguson fan. I still am, but he had a bad game last game. Other than that, he had 3 solid games. He's been in and out. Well, he missed the first couple games because he got hurt, but he's been solid. It's hard to get my thumb on this. I know this is a fantasy show, but real quick, did you hear what Jerry Jones said about Derrick Henry?
Probably not.
Did you hear it, Ray?
Mm-mm.
Real quick, because it was really funny to me.
Oh, Jerry.
He said that Derrick Henry is doing great right now. But that's not guaranteed that he would have done that on the Cowboys because the Ravens run a different scheme. And I'm not quoting him exactly. I'm paraphrasing. But essentially he said that Derrick Henry might not be doing this on the Cowboys, which I don't know what he's talking about.
Is that him saying that his coaches aren't as good as the Ravens coaches?
He did call out Mike McCarthy, actually. He did have a statement about Mike McCarthy about bad offensive play calling. So I think we're just a mess.
Take the guy's microphone away.
And oh my God, that's a whole different story.
Old people are going to say what they want.
Yep.
I think, and this was a great game looking at from a standpoint from a couple weeks ago. Mm-hmm. I don't know if there's a lot of players you're actually starting end up in this game. I mean, on your guys' side, George Kittle, I would start Jujuan. I would start all the Niners because our defense is still terrible. Jujuan Jennings, Debo if he plays, Jordan Mason I think is going to have a great game.
I think Debo plays. I think his illness will be subsided by Sunday night, we hope.
Pneumonia is kind of serious, though.
Right. Well, was it positive? I know he was tested. I don't know if
he had pneumonia.
Yeah, that sucks. Yeah, so we'll see. I hope he plays. I know he's listed as wrist/illness on the injury report right now. I hope he plays. Jujuan Jennings also didn't practice today, so we'll see. I do think, Jordan Mason, he's playable. Kittle's playable, obviously. I think you maybe even start Brock this week unless, like we were talking about, if you have Kirk or someone else like that. Let me just throw this out there on the Cowboys side really quick before I let Ray talk the Niners side. CeeDee Lamb, I know you keep saying, I hope he comes out, I hope this is coming out, blah, blah. He's still top 10 in receiving yards.
He's been solid.
He's sitting at number 10. He's behind George Pickens, ahead of Garrett Wilson.
And that's the crazy. I think you say that like he's ahead of George Pickens, but you said
behind
George Pickens, ahead of Garrett Wilson.
Yep.
He should be.
Yeah,
top
I get
5.
what you're saying. Yeah, he should be up there with Jamaar, Godwin, Metcalf, Nico Collins, Justin Jefferson.
Correct. So, and we haven't had that game yet. Still, I know he's had 100 yards, but I think he's only had 100-yard game this year, and I think it's about 2 or 3 touchdowns. I think he has 2 touchdowns. We need more, and this is not the CeeDee Lamb, and he's the primary weapon in our offense.
Yep.
He is the one that makes it go.
He should be force-fed like the Dolphins were force-feeding OBJ.
He needs at least 15 targets. Like, that's how I feel.
Agreed. Looking at this top 10 receiving before Ray, I'm sorry. I keep coming back. I apologize. I'm so sorry, Ray. I'm the most sorry person I've ever known. Brock Bowers at 8 is kind of wild. That's a tight end in the top 10 receiving this year in a season that is
Brock Bowers is awesome.
Tight end recession.
He's so good.
He's got 477 yards receiving on the year. He's
going to finish tight end 1.
That is nuts with 1 touchdown because the Raiders can't get into pay dirt. That is what it is. Ray, let's talk about the 49ers side in the Sunday Night Football game to close us out.
Yeah, I think, missing Ayuk's going to hurt for sure, but I think the offense should be rolling. As Gabe said, Mason's going to have a good game. The running backs for the Lions kind of had a field day. Montgomery with 80 yards and 2 touchdowns. Gibbs had 63 yards. But I think the biggest thing we could look for is like big plays against this Cowboys defense, because Laporta had that big 50-yard touchdown or something like that. And I think Jameson Williams had a big play too. So I would expect to see Kittle and Debo making some big plays.
Go to work.
Mason and Kittle game.
Mason and Kittle.
This is going to be their 2. Those are going to be the 2 main guys from the Niners that I think kills us.
Is Jalen Tolbert playable?
With the receivers that are hurt, because I do think we're going to be passing a lot and we might be down. So, yeah, I do think Jalen Tolbert would be a solid flex if you in a 12-man league.
What the hell are we doing with Rico Dowdle? That's my last question.
That's a great question. Again, a 12-man league, possible flex. I wouldn't expect huge game. Like if you're expecting 20 points out of those guys, you're exaggerating. If you get double digits, I'd be happy.
But if you're in a PPR, then I would start Rico for sure. Like he got 5 catches against the Lions when they're down and they got to throw. He's going to be the guy in there. So
he'll get checkdowns. Yep.
It's very frustrating to watch what they're doing in the backfield there in Dallas. With 1 week Zeke gets 3 touches, the next he gets 15, and Dowdle also gets 15, and it's kind of weird. I don't really understand what they're doing.
Go get ETN.
Yeah, if you have either of those guys. Yeah.
It's a rumor that I heard.
Is Zeke even owned?
I had him. I dropped him.
Yeah, he's not owned in a lot of the leagues that I'm in.
And you know what's crazy? He actually, when he runs the ball, is not
He's
bad.
efficient. He's efficient.
We talked about it. He's 5 yards a carry.
Yep.
He's just getting like 4 carries a game.
Right.
If that. Can I one
more thing?
One player.
Yes. Yeah, one player.
I know you love this.
Yep.
And this, I have him in a league, and I have him in this league because I thought the quarterback that is starting was going to start the season.
This buildup is insane.
Do you have an idea who I'm talking about? It's one of your guys.
It's one of my guys.
That you're high on, that you love, and I think you have him in CBS.
Oh, George Pickens.
Go get George Pickens if you can. That
George
man is
P.
about to have a
I love
year.
him so much that I benched him last week.
What?
And I lost because I played Marvin Harrison Jr. instead.
You should just trade Marvin Harrison Jr. to me, and I'll give you Tank Dell. And that way you're not forced to play Marvin Harrison Jr. anymore.
I'm 2-5 in that league, Ray. And 2 of my losses are by less than 3.5 points combined.
He benched Javonte, too. His other guy, Javonte Williams.
My bench went nuts this past week.
You're not benching Javonte this week, are you?
He's on my bench right now.
Who are you starting over
But he's playing
Javonte?
Carolina. I have Kareem Hunt, and I have James Cook.
Who's your flex?
George Pickens. With Tyreek Hill.
I might start Javonte over Kareem Hunt.
With Tyreek Hill and George Pickens and I forget who my third wide receiver is. Marvin's on the bench. I love my team in CBS. I'm 2-5. What the hell? Josh Allen's my quarterback.
I mean,
what am I doing?
It doesn't matter.
What went wrong?
You're not going to beat my team, so it
What
doesn't matter.
went wrong, Ray?
That's tough.
I don't
know.
You should be 4-3.
Yeah, I should be. But
You
it's misplays. It happens in the fantasy.
But George Pickens hasn't been who he is until now. He's finally going to
He's had
be
2
that guy.
really good weeks, and I think his other best week, I was playing him.
His ceilings are going up now.
Yeah, for sure, with Russ Stubb in there.
That was my one take I wanted to give, that go get George Pickens.
AJ, Mike Tomlin did not make that call. Guys, thank you. That was episode 11 of Watch the Throne Fantasy Football Show. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening.
Drop the outro.
Drop the outro.
Drop the outro.
The music?
The
whole
loud
music?
The music. No, not the
man.
whole thing. Obviously, we're going to cut
Well,
it.
I can't cut it. Remember? This board wouldn't let me cut it earlier.
I thought you could edit it later, though.
We're so close. We are so close to being real good at this. We are so close to being real good at this.
That was a smooth outro for sure.
Again, guys, thanks for watching. Until next time. Peace.
Good luck.